I had just finished listening to Drake's Family Matters, and I was immediately not all that impressed, but I couldn't lie that it wasn't a good, catchy song. It made me want to lift weights.
What's the business, y'all? It's your local neighborhood super rig off in this thing, and your boy Briss. What's popping, man?
What's good, bro? It's always a good day.
Not a damn thing, and it is always a good day. We are about to react to FD Signifier's 7 hot takes I had to leave out of my Drake video. Now, if you are a part of it's a community called the bread community or the cornbread community. I don't know, but they supposed to be like pro-black or something. I don't know. Anyway, dude be making some really good videos. I don't agree with all his takes. He made a video about Drake called some video, and it was about the whole beef or whatever. I was with him on a lot of points, so he was working out the Family Matters, playing in the background. How you gonna hate somebody but be working out to their trash music? And he used to be a fan of them a long time ago, but he said he hate Drake, so I give him that because I looked up the definitions to the word hate and despise. Hate is just to, really not like somebody. He don't despise Drake like I do. I despise Fraudry. So it's only, most people just hate him. I despise him. I used to be like, he don't hate him. I think he do hate him a lot because he disappointed him because he used to be a fan of him. I ain't never been, or at minimum, used to listen to his music. Since I ain't never listened to his music, I ain't never been a fan. All right, and let's get into the video.
Full story of the Kendrick versus Drake battle. Surely by now, many of you have seen my recent video essay on the main channel, I'm What the Culture Feeling, which is an essay where I tell the full story of the Kendrick versus Drake battle from the summer of 2024. In it, I give a brief history of hip hop, a full history of Drake's early career, his connection to Kendrick, how they represent different ideologies around hip hop and art, and then spend a good 90 minutes analyzing the actual battle, making fun of Drake fans, and then in the end, asking some hard questions about the nature of hip hop culture as food for thought going forward. It's the best video I've ever made. It's the most successful video I've ever made. And it's the longest video I've ever made at 3.5 hours long. I am truly grateful for the response.
I ain't go front. I watched the whole video straight through.
Word.
And it really was good. And I think I done froze. So I'm going to keep on playing the video. Continue.
Response is had. Shout out to Babilla, who's editing this as well, for helping to bring it together along with Spatial and Needless. It's a team effort. And I'm just happy that I got to make something like that. It's a dream come true, low key. That said, even with its 240-minute runtime, there were still things I had to cut and things I wish I had said and I would have probably added if I felt like I had more time to get it out. And I wanted the chance to engage with some of those things, and that is literally what I made this channel for. So here are all the B-sides.
Hey, that's crazy. You make a 3-hour video about somebody and have some stuff that you left out.
That is wild.
Hey, that's like saying, you know what? I was making the Titanic and it was about 55 more scenes I wanted to put in there to finish it up, but it just wasn't enough time.
7 major takeaways from I'm What the Culture Feeling in no particular order. 1. Drake's failed attempt to glom on to Ice Spice. One thing I wish I had more time to talk about was the insidiousness of the Drake stimulus package, which I'm going to expound more on later, but I wanted to use this specific example of how shameless Drake is and his clout chasing to stay relevant. So surely some of you remember.
These are facts. That's what he does. He wave rides. And this your girl right here, ain't it? The Ice Bizzle?
That's back when she was still fine, too.
He don't like that Ozempic ice. All right, let's go.
Remember when Ice Spice popped up on the scene and kind of took over the world with a Munch, which was a huge hit, and she was everywhere. She had a great look, which made her stand out. And so her wave started out of nowhere immediately. And almost immediately after that wave started, there's Drake reaching out to her, flying her to his shows, etc. Mind you, Ice Spice is only like 21 at the time and Drake is 35. However, I don't think this is romantic if I'm honest. I think the goal was the Drake stimulus package, which is really just
romantic. Who would have thought that was romantic in the first place? Why? How would your brain even connect that was romantic? I don't think it's romantic. Anyway, this is not the point of the video. Let's see.
Just Drake riding the waves of anyone who gets hot at any point in time. But for whatever reason, this didn't happen. Drake flew out to a show. They probably had a couple of photos together. And then suddenly he was unfollowing her on Instagram and there was zero.
This dude is such a broad. That fraudery is a broad. He is the most following, unfollow. He the most loud person on the internet, man. The whole, I'm gonna follow somebody, or then I'm gonna unfollow you, and da-da-da-da. That is insanely weird.
That's pretty wild, because I'm bad at that. I don't unfollow nobody. I got exes from like 15 years ago that I'm still Facebook friends with. I see their new life. I like the picture of everything. I love it. Like, oh, you doing good.
For real, though. Like, what's the point of unfollowing? Gee whiz. Let's continue. Dang, he a fraud.
Contact or connection between them.
I seen Drake was in your DMs. How was that? How was your experience meeting Drake?
He was like, yo, Munch is hard. You're on the radar freestyle is hard. And I was like, damn, like, can I post this with the release date?
It's been speculated that Drake unfollowed you afterwards. Do you want to tell us some tea on that?
He did. I don't know why, though.
Shame on you, Drake. Shame on you. You shouldn't have done that.
It's okay, though.
She's out here.
It's all love.
He eventually refollowed her, and then not too long after that, Sexy Red, and Drake does the exact same thing, except unlike Ice Spice, Sexy Red is all for it, and suddenly they're out all the time taking pictures. She's on his songs, he's on her songs. There's even rumors that he's the father of her recently born child, and it's not like the worst thing ever, but it is cringe because you know it's all for show because we've seen Drake do this 100 times before. Sexy Red is experiencing a lot of success, and I wish I could root for her, but she's been crossing the line lately from authentic hood representation to for white people. And then there's Drake just passively collecting XP from her wave. This is basically how the stimulus package goes. Someone or something hot happens in pop culture, be it a new rapper, a new pop star, hell, even a new child actor in a movie, and then suddenly there's Drake. And this is not an accident. This is a very cynical thing that he continues to do. And I'll explain why this is bad later, but I just wanted to point out this perfect example of it, and I had to cut it from the video. 2.
Yeah, Drake definitely, and you unmuted. Drake definitely be hopping on waves of anybody, like he said, child stars, Justin Bieber. Don't matter. He don't never hop on old people's wave though.
Yeah, and nobody from Houston either.
Oops.
Like the boy Sauce said. But what they talking about that everybody people think that that's Drake baby, Sexy Red baby is Drake baby. I didn't know that.
I mean, that's just some internet stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there ain't nobody.
I didn't think that was no real shit at all.
Yeah, everybody know Drake don't like vagina like that. Let's continue.
With respect of Dr. Dre and the other conflicts and Kendrick's Keep the Family Away, getting serious for a moment. One thing that is significant in the analysis of this beef is the way that Kendrick was able to color Drake as a bad guy, based partly on his behavior, but also in the guys he keeps around, namely rapper Baka Not Nice, who is a convicted sexual predator. You know who else is a convicted sexual predator? Kodak Black, who was prominently featured on Kendrick's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers album back in 2023. Now, there's a lot of angles you could take to show how this isn't the same thing as what Drake does, and I tend to agree with those takes. For one, Kendrick only worked with Kodak on a few occasions. That's not a part of his like inner circle and entourage, whereas Baka is a core member of Drake's inner circle and lives at the compound or embassy or whatever with him and is seen with him on a regular basis. But it still merits a side eye on Kendrick's behalf that he has similar type elements in his circle at all. The same can be said for Dr. Dre, who, although is not a predator, has a well-documented history of violence towards women. Again, not in Kendrick's inner circle, but still a mentor that he even invited to the Pop Out Celebration concert. And none of this has been addressed pretty much ever by hip hop or Kendrick or Dre. And it just muddies the water and illustrates that the angle on Drake was more about just destroying him than it actually was about protecting women, which I think was obvious to most people, but it still merits discussion. And it previews another thing I'm going to say about Kendrick later in the video that I think a lot of people are missing. 3.
How you feel? What is your take on that? What he just said on there?
You talking about Kendrick just taking them out and not protecting women?
Yeah, like him bringing up that he hang around sex offenders and stuff, but he did that song with Kodak Black, and then he came out with Dr. Dre, so basically call him a hypocrite.
It's pretty interesting.
But I know that, but I'm saying, what do you think? Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with it, but that is interesting though. I had to think about that a little more.
And I think it was a certain context, a reason he had Kodak Black on that song. I forgot what the reason it was, but I think it was some type of context he had to that. Also, with the whole Drake thing, I don't know. I can understand that because that D Barnes thing was super crazy. You cannot deny that. That was a thought. You know that story about D Barnes, right? When Drake beat the brakes off of D Barnes in that bathroom, the interviewer.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, y'all know Drake was. I mean, Drake.
Who
Dr.
was
Drake.
Barnes?
This was back in like she was a news reporter. Yeah, hold on, let me
He
bring
beat
it
her
up.
up.
Yeah.
Dang, I ain't know about that.
He paid her. I believe he got the money and everything. She was on this show called
Man, I don't be knowing none of the inside info about that.
Word. You don't remember that show she had? It was called it was Pump It Up. You don't remember this show used to come on? It was syndicated. Like 90, 91.
I know.
Yeah. In 91, he beat the brakes off of her. And so I get where he coming from about that as far as the thing. But this the thing though, when he brought that up, and this is my thought process. Can't you just hate Drake? He despises him like me. So of course it was about just bringing him down. Forget everybody else. That's my take on it. I get where he coming from on this point, but when you hate something for real, when you despise something for real, whatever you got to do to destroy it, that's what you gonna do. And that's my thought process on it. Him bringing that up, I get it, but bringing it up for why? Let's continue. Track 3, Wayne's girl.
While he was in jail, destroying him than it actually was about protecting women, which I think was obvious to most people, but it still merits discussion. And it previews another thing I'm going to say about Kendrick later in the video that I think a lot of people are missing. 3, did Drake actually sleep with Wayne's girlfriend while he was in jail? Maybe not. One thing I've seen a lot of Drake stans point out is that the story that Drake slept with Lil Wayne's girlfriend while he was in jail is being misrepresented. The rumor has been around for years, stemming from interviews like 10 years ago that I showed in the video, where Wayne talks about the fact that when he found this out in jail, it really frustrated and upset him. He said he didn't leave his cell for days, etc. However, Drake fans have been pointing out that several news sources say that an important detail is missed, which makes Drake seem much less worse. Former video model Tammy Torres met Drake before she met Kendrick, and then they started a relationship. And Drake told Wayne about the fact that he had slept with Wayne's current girlfriend after they started dating while Wayne was in prison. The waters are still a bit muddy because there are conflicting reports, and it seems like something that would have been cleared up or should have been cleared up a lot more that it hasn't. And people have been allowed to believe that it's different for almost a decade now. So, you know, believe what you will, I'll say. But in the spirit of fairness, I have to point out that the story as it's been presented up until this point and presented on Not Like Us, the final diss track from Kendrick toward Drake, at least gives plausible deniability that that story is true. However, 4, Drake really is.
I always heard the story like he slept with her while, like I didn't know it was no stuff like Drake met her first, slept with her, and then Wayne met her. And then after Wayne got with her, then Drake was like, oh man, I was messing with. Now, if it was that, that's way different than he just messing with her.
I can't write. He didn't provide anything showing that was the actual thing though. He said, oh, the story, he did the same thing that everybody else doing. He was like, well, there's rumors that Fraudry met her first. What if Fraudry met her first, introduces Wayne, then backdoored it?
Because if his story was true, why the hell would Fraudry get that tattoo on him? And why would, because Wayne definitely seemed like, when I saw him talking about that, he seemed hurt for real.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, the tattoo, Fraudry's just a weirdo. He ain't no telling how many dudes. We done only seen the waist up tattoos of Fraudry. Ain't no telling how many faces he got, you know, on the BBL. He could have the whole Mount Rushmore of Atlanta rappers on the BBL. Who knows? Dude's a weirdo, but yeah, I'm not going with that take. I'm not. I believe this is my theory on it mixed with his. Fraudry knew her first. She wanted to mess with Wayne because Wayne was really popping off like that and actually had some swagger to him. Then Wayne got with her. Then while Wayne was locked up, then Drake backdoored on some dirty macking as usual, and here we are. That's what I think.
And if that's the real story, that's some whole shit.
It's some fraudery shit. This is the only thing that makes sense. But let's continue. Track 4, certified PDF. Let's get into it.
Is like that when it comes to young girls. One thing that Drake fans have tried to argue against when there's no real evidence to support their side is Drake's extremely questionable history with underage girls and sexual misconduct in general. I didn't want to suck all the fun out of other parts of the video by spending a lot of time on this, and because I've seen other videos I'll leave in the description that do go further into this, but with a little Googling, there's so much smoke to this fire, and it's not just some narrative. There are very logical extrapolations of known facts, and Drake's worst fans really didn't do him any favors in the way they tried to defend this stuff or to refuse to acknowledge that these are genuine problems and criticisms of Drake's behavior. Like they did the meme where they said Drake isn't a pedophile, he's an ephebophile. He doesn't want to touch little kids, just teenage girls. Aside from the well-known weird relationships with Millie Bobby,
I got a question about that. If Kendrick had went with a ephebophile instead of the pedo, would it have hit the same?
No, because I ain't never even heard that word. I was today years old the first time I heard that word. I'd been like, "What is that?"
Word.
Google it. Yeah, I ain't never heard that.
Yeah.
If I gotta Google your diss track, what you talking about?
Let me see. Certified lover boy, certified but me foul. Yeah, just don't got that same.
Because everybody know what a PDF file is.
Yeah, the 3-year-olds know what that is. It's like, no, mom, I don't want to go to that concert. He's a pedo. You didn't hear?
A fever file. That's too many syllables.
All right, let's see what else he talk about.
Brown and Billie Eilish when both were underage. There are women that Drake met when they were very young that he then publicly dated after they turned 18. Hailey Bieber, SZA, possibly even Kylie Jenner, as well as this.
Wait. I ain't even. So he knew them before they turned 18, then waited till they turned 18 to holler?
That's grooming, bro. That's 100% groom status.
Wow.
That's next level grooming right there.
Wow. This dude, man.
He is Epstein.
This is crazy. Let's continue.
Ethiopian model that he met when she was 16. And you can just see in the body language that a lot of this stuff is highly inappropriate. This is a disturbing set of coincidences. Drake fans like to point out that all the women in question claim that nothing bad happened, that Drake is a good friend. Fine. Would you let Drake around your 16-year-old sister or daughter?
No.
No.
Be honest, if you knew a guy with this type of past, with these types of things and pictures in his background, would you think he was good to go, or would you think he was a creep and you wanted to keep the family away? Drake even has rap lyrics comparing high school girls to strippers.
Sierra Kane parking lot looking like Magic City parking lot. High school pics, you was even bad then.
Bro, them R. Kelly lyrics right there. That's 100% R. Kelly certified. R. Kelly might have wrote that and sent it to him.
The Sierra Canyon line was 1,000,000% out of pocket.
Dude.
That's insane.
Dude. Let's continue.
That's crazy.
That somehow at the height of Me Too didn't get any real traction. Drake settled a sexual assault case for $350,000, and when you see the details of it, it's pretty damn gross. Now, to be clear, Drake has no criminal charges that have been brought against him and has plausible deniability for a lot of these things here. But the same could have been said about R. Kelly about a decade ago. Once a guy has this much concerning behavior surrounding him regarding underage girls, it cannot be ignored. You can definitely say Drake is not a pedophile. That is technically true. You can say there's no smoking gun about inappropriate behavior that proves any of this stuff. That is also true. But again, with all this information, Drake fans, would you let him be around your family? Just saying. Shout out to Creature McEvil. They have a video about this that I'll leave in the description that goes deeper into like just how insidious this might be. But yeah, that's just, y'all gonna have to hold that L, and it really should like I'm gonna be nicer here. It should bother y'all more.
I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding how you hate something. You supposed to hate something, but you giving all these benefits of a doubt. When just the other story, he was like, "Oh well, you know, he might have not slept with Wayne girl beforehand." Poke holes in that, but then it come to this where we have this dude texting weird old girls. He just done really put it out there that, oh well, he was hollering at them before they turned 18, then circle back to him. What is you talking about on some plausible deniability up in this thing? There's no plausible deniability. It's plausible finger point ability.
Yo, RMS 2110 said y'all need to read the SA case. Have you ever read that?
The SA case?
His sexual assault case. We need to read that one day on live or something.
Who Fraudress?
Drake, yeah.
Oh, okay. We gonna do that. We ain't got time today, but we definitely gonna do that.
Do that one day.
All right, let's get back into it.
Y'all gonna have to hold that L, and it really should. Like I'm gonna be nicer here. It should bother y'all more than it does. Number 5, Drake is the Jeff Bezos of hip hop, the Walmart of rap. I had a great talk with the Potty Mouth podcast.
First off, and this is just for me right here. Walmart is literally the worst place on earth to work for, but it's the best place to shop at. I'm just gonna put that out there. Let's continue.
Earlier this week.
Quick story. I got fired from Walmart. I worked overnight. I got fired at like 12 o'clock at night because I walked out, didn't come back. They saw me there 8 hours later, fresh with a buggy, picking up cereal. That's how great Walmart is shopping. You can't beat the low prices. You just can't beat it. I was like, hey, Brenda, no, I'm not coming back ever again. Let's continue.
We're one of the hosts, 4, who is a Drake fan, but they're like smart Drake fans. He said during our conversation that Drake is a Jeff Bezos of hip hop. And I think he was trying to make it seem like a cool thing almost. But after we talked about it, I think both of us realized just how awful this actually is for Drake as a musician and for music lovers. Going back to the whole stimulus package thing and the damage that Drake has done to music and black music specifically, I struggled coming up with the perfect way to explain why the Drake stimulus package was such a bad thing. And then 4 said this to me during our conversation.
More so about love and heartbreak. I think, like you said, like a lot, especially as newer generation of fans, I see these videos all the time on TikTok, even now, like people doing fan edits or whatever to the songs that they'll always remember because they were dealing with this one girl. And for whatever reason, Drake has always been very good, even throughout the years, at like tapping into that
which
vulnerable,
is so interesting.
heartbreak side. And, and I think a lot of people, because he makes so many different types of music, at any point in your life, there's a song. There's a Drake song that was playing during that core memory.
When I hear that there's a Drake song for every moment in your life, I agree. And I hate it. It makes me so angry.
Why? Because it's Drake.
Because I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why there's a Drake song for every moment of your life. It's the same thing with the fighting game analogy.
Yeah. He figured it out. Yeah.
He said, I'm not going to ever let anything be without me. I'm going to make McDonald's rap. That was another one of my jokes that I left out of the section.
Once again, he's equating fraudery with some of the greatest American establishments in existence. Once again, McDonald's, horrible place to work at. I got fired there after one day. They saw me there 2 hours later picking up a Big Mac. And I paid for it that time. All right. I get the analogies, but damn it. All right, let's continue.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure some of those songs really do capture that moment effectively, but I guarantee you, like my heartbreak songs are actual R&B songs. He said Drake is a mediocre R&B act.
Mediocre? Drake can't sing. Drake cannot sing. He can't sing. His R&B songs is all about hating. And now Drake's R&B songs either is about hating on the dude to get a girl or flat-foot hating the girl, period, and wanting to get revenge on her by balling out of control in her face. Am I right or wrong?
I'm trying to think through that because there's a couple of I might look at the lyrics again because I know like the Jungle record. I like that one, but I don't know if that's what you say, love song or R&B song.
R&B, love, whatever. His heartbreak songs is I'm a lame. She told me I was a lame, but now I'm balling. I'm not a lame no more. From what I know. Am I wrong?
He got some other stuff.
You sent me a song where this dude literally said, "Oh yeah, it was this chick. She wasn't messing with me, so I went and a stripper chick, and I went and got my mama debit card, and I maxed it out, and then I spent it on it. And then she stopped messing with me, and she go regret it when I'm balling for real." That was basically the gist of the song.
I do remember that, and they say we both echoing now.
Son of a bitch. Look, guys, I'm going to be using StreamYard with the little duck face from now on. This setup I got right here is too complicated for multiple people. So I apologize. Thank you for anybody that's staying here. Also, while I got you guys in here, let's go on and get those likes up real quick. Go on and hit that like. If you want me to be able to afford the StreamYard, hit that like. The more people that we get into the chat, the more it can make and the less struggle this stream can be. All right. School just started back, and I had to buy the kids some Spaldings. All right.
Some Spaldings.
His R&B music elements are passable at best compared to real R&B. And that's true for all of Drake's genres. He makes a lot of good music in a lot of genres, but it's like the difference between like ethnic food made for white people in a regentrifying neighborhood and the real version of that ethnic food brought straight from the source. It's like Italian food from Olive Garden's passable is pretty good, and then like Italian food from a place in Chicago owned by a 70-year-old Italian man that's been making the same meals for like 40 years straight from Italy that has mastered that craft. Both of them serve the same purpose and can satisfy the same needs, but one is definitely superior in quality, and a whole generation of young people don't understand this and have never experienced it. And because of how Drake operates in this modern music system, they probably never will. What Drake does is water down so many other forms of music with his wave-chasing versatility. And you could say that it's helpful to artists in certain genres that it gets more attention because Drake is doing it. But paradoxically, this hurts the actual fans and consumers of that art. There's no better example of this than R&B right now. What is the state of R&B in 2024? And I say this as a person that never really liked R&B, but R&B used to be one of the most prominent genres in Black music in America. Luther Vandross, Patti LaBelle, Johnny Gill, Carl Thomas, Genuine, Alicia Keys. In Vogue were so fine. I was so down bad for In Vogue.
In Vogue was super bad. Can't.
I would tell you a story how I opened up for him.
Word.
So I opened up for.
No, go.
No, so I opened up for In Vogue. This had to be like 13 years ago. It was at a Peoria Soul Fest, and In Vogue was the main people. And I was like, "Ooh, I had a backstage pass. I can't wait to use my backstage pass to go back there and meet In Vogue." Man, so after I got done on my part, it was like three acts in between. So I tried to go back there.
Yeah.
And so I went back there. And I was like, "Is this where In Vogue at?" A big ass security guard was like, "What you trying to do back here?" I'm like, "Man, I'm just trying to come holler, talk to In Vogue." He was like, "Man," he took my badge off me and pushed me out. So I had to walk back out like with my cool knocked off.
Damn.
He hated on me, bro.
Dude, yeah, hate, man. Damn.
They were still fly too.
I'm sorry you had to go through that and missed out on seeing them both. Let's continue.
And they had like any type of Black woman you wanted. I don't know if this is on purpose. I'm getting off topic. But right now, R&B is greatly dead.
And Vogue do that.
Influenced music, and there's still like Summer Walker and Jacquees, but R&B used to be so much more prominent. But now we have a whole generation of Black children that will grow up hardly ever hearing R&B, not just on the radio, because nobody listens to the radio, but in their feeds or in the mainstream sources where they get new music. And the replacement they have for the R&B vibe is Drake. And Drake's earlier music did have some pretty solid R&B elements, but it wasn't real good R&B. And now that same generation probably doesn't even have an ear to appreciate what real R&B could and should sound.
Dude, this literally kind of got me kind of depressed, bro. it's babies growing up thinking Fraudry's music is he like they Smokey Robinson, bro. He they Temptations, B.
I mean, who's R&B right now though? Like
Chris Brown,
besides Breezy.
Jacquees said he the king of R&B.
He is. But it ain't no real Bryson Tiller. I don't know.
Wow, dude. It is some.
It's a lot of R&B women, but for R&B men, it's not a lot.
It ain't nobody, like, for real. And I hate that they even consider Fraudry R&B. That's not R&B unless it stands for rapping bullshit. Let's continue.
By mass marketing himself and always catering to the customer, or in this case, the listener, Drake is a lot like Jeff Bezos. He's produced good music at a relatively significant pace, but has also killed other aspects of the industry that maybe weren't the most efficient or profitable or customer-centered, but it had qualities that can't be replaced. I think that it's great that I can order toys for Christmas off Amazon every year and not deal with crowds, and I will probably never go back to going to KB Toys or Toys R Us, if they even exist, to buy toys for Christmas. But I also see the way my children's eyes light up when we go into these novelty toy stores, and I'm sad that they don't have the experience of what it feels like to walk into a giant toy store. I get that a Drake song may have helped you through a breakup, but I guarantee you that Green Eyes by Erykah Badu would have been a much superior choice had you been around to hear it. Walmart does this thing, or at least they used to, I'm not sure anymore because they've evolved their evil so much, where before they build a store anywhere in the country, they look around to see what other smaller businesses exist in the neighborhood they're coming to. So if there's a shoe store or a jewelry store or a hair salon or whatever in the area, Walmart would make sure that aside from the usual Walmart stuff, there will be a jewelry store, a hair store, or a shoe store for the sole purpose of using their trillions of dollars to subsidize those smaller businesses to put the mom and pop businesses in the neighborhood out of business.
That's
they
facts.
purposely lose money just to put other stores out of business to ensure that whatever it is you might want to get as a customer, you have to get it from Walmart. And this allows them not just to be a normal store, but to control the market as a whole. And this is what Drake does. One thing I've always thought about
this dude right here. This the dude y'all let, and you, I'm sorry, Briss, you a part of this. You let this dude right here take over. Shame on all y'all. All y'all. Wow. Let's continue.
About Drake is that his music is really bland and unchallenging. His beats are greatly predictable. Half of them sound the same because half of them are done by 40. There's rarely anything you're going to hear from Drake that you haven't heard before from Drake. I asked a question a while ago that whether or not Drake had a song like Kendrick Lamar's Cartoons and Serial. Cartoons and Serial is an unreleased Kendrick song that sounds like really nothing you ever heard in mainstream hip hop at the time, and still to this day. Its chorus is chaotic and spastic. It was done during the Good Kid, Mad City era, so Kendrick is using that dreamy robot voice that he does all the time. There's all kinds of modulation in other parts and so on. It's just an amazing work of art through a hip hop song. Drake maybe could do that. I do think Drake is talented, but he won't. That's not his.
And see, this is where I have my, he really think, I'll be honest, and people, this is like, I really just, outside of acting, and I ain't even talking about just acting like a rapper. Fraudry is hilarious on Saturday Night Live. Dude be funny. Yeah. On the interviews, he is a good actor, period. Like, no jokes. Even when he was in blackface, that was the greatest blackface I ever seen ever. That was top notch. I ain't never seen no blackface done better than that. Acting, he is great at. But he wasn't a good actor for the writing and for rapping to me. He always never could really be what he was pretending to be. He don't have musical talent to me. He can't even sing good with auto-tune to me, okay? I don't know what y'all's ears be hearing. Maybe it be the dope songwriter, the ghostwriters or something like that. But he is, outside of acting, he's talentless. Let's continue.
Because he wants his listeners to be groomed readily, to be easily amused by his song structures and melodies that are easily repeatable.
And he can't dance. Let's continue.
wrong with that, but I'd argue it's contributing to a generation of music listeners who genuinely don't know how to listen to music, that can't enjoy anything that isn't a trap beat or a 4-chord pop melody. We're losing recipes, and I'm not just talking about like black folks, like everybody. Where are the rock bands, white people? Where are the rock bands? Before Drake, when other artists were allowed to breathe and explore their art without him intruding, you could have more experimental stuff be mainstream. Now the best we have is Scaring the Hoes with JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown, which is very successful, but it exists outside of the mainstream because there's no room for it now. But once upon a time, the Roots were mainstream. Wu-Tang Clan was mainstream. 3 6 Mafia was mainstream. You get me here? This is the unintended consequence of Drake's success. You can't take Drake's success and work ethic and talent away from him, but I really want a lot of you to start thinking about, what did Drake's success and talent and work ethic take away from you? 6, hip hop's old heads and gatekeepers need to do better. So
I gotta ask you, as a previous and maybe still listener of Fraud's music, his voice really, you can tolerate his voice on the eardrums?
Yeah, it ain't bother me.
And it sound good.
Yeah, it ain't bother me at all.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, even when he was fake singing, I knew he couldn't sing, but it wasn't like, I didn't think he was like no Luther or nothing, but I just thought it worked for the song that he was singing on.
Really? You know JJ Icefish?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
That's what it sounds like to me, though.
Hey, JJ Icefish and the Odd Future, they actually had a track that was dope together.
What, have I heard that? I'm gonna have to go look for that.
It was on one of their episodes, and I was like, this track.
Oh, okay, yeah. I ain't heard it then. If it was on that show, though, was it the that Loiter Squad show?
I don't think so. Well, it was on whatever their show was called. It was called Odd Future.
No, it was called Loiter Squad. If it was on Comedy Central, it was like a skit show.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
have to go check it out.
One day.
I'm 100% sure it was better than anything Fraud you put out. Let's go.
I actually cut like 5 minutes at the end of the video where I go on a rant about ways that hip hop fans my age and older are failing to be effective leaders and advisors to the new generation of hip hop fans. This is something I've thought about and talked about for a while. Hip hop's old guard have truly failed to pass the torch properly to younger generations. And then at the same time, you constantly hear old heads complain about how bad the music is and refuse to give good new music any respect or time to just listen to it. And then in the same breath say the youth don't listen to them, and they wonder why hip hop feels so soulless right now and why hip hop can't produce any real new stars. Now there's a reason for that. Ed Lover, a legendary figure in hip hop commentary, said the following on the Joe Budden podcast a while back.
Getting the understanding of someone who's 15 years old and they don't necessarily know life yet. They're giving a short amount of what they've experienced. And it's being repeated over and over and over and over and over and over and over. But a lot of the younger generation, they're coming up, and my parents were not good parents. They don't even trust adults.
Yeah, because they ain't have no guidance.
Right.
Well, that's a lot of that is a 360-degree circle that they gave our fathers and shit. They pumped crack into our neighborhoods and then lock our fathers up for football years.
Right.
So it's just a different mentality because we weren't around to teach them.
Young Gen Xers and older millennials like myself are products of the crack era and the mass incarceration era. As such, so many of us came up without elders and OGs that were actually good. Many died during that era, many became addicts, many went to jail, and some of the ones that were left were often highly flawed. So Gen Xers and millennials learn to fend for themselves and seemingly assume that this is the way that Gen Z needs to have it as well, even though we're here to help, but we're not. There's a lack of instinct to be a mentor for a lot of us, I think. And the way we interacted with our elders with such reverence and respect is not how Gen Z responds to us, and for good reason. We didn't know the truth about our elders because our elders were just as trash as we are to them, but we didn't know any better. And they forced us, often through fear and physical violence, to respect them in ways that we're not willing and able to do with Gen Z. That's just
Hey, that's super facts though. Like, I don't none of the ways that I was getting checked and stuff I do with my kids for whatever reason. I ain't gonna lie though. You done heard how I talk to my kids though. I'm just hella sarcastic and we Jones on each other until I win and then they do what I say. But as far as the old way, like whoopings and all of that stuff,
yeah.
It's just not the same. So I totally get it. And you want to know something? Thank the Lord, my mom did beat me with a belt. Because if not, probably would have been listening to Fraudry. Just like these weirdo children right now. We need to bring back belts. That's what he just done told me. As a matter of fact, we need to bring back hammers and all sorts of other more. What's the word I'm looking for? I forgot the word. Indian way.
Because I used to get the sleeve beat off me on the red with all kind of stuff.
Well,
shoes. I think the one is like a extension cord I got hit with before. What's a yardstick?
Oh my!
I used to get worked out on. I used to be doing bad stuff though.
I just got a hand in the belt.
No, I used to do dumb stuff.
I used to get a switch, but then she would make me go out and pick it, and I would get like a branch, like a real, like not a real switch that like was wet, but a branch. And she'd be like, "Boy, you know I ain't gonna whoop you with that, boy. Go get a real." And then I would bring back something real small, and I would do that until I brought back the right one. And that bought me enough time to brace for the actual game. Yeah,
one of the worst whoopings I ever got in my life was from my grandma. And I don't know, it was before I was in school. It's like one of the earliest memories I ever had. I don't know why I was doing it, especially now I'm thinking about it. My grandma had all these plants in the house. She used to water them. So one day I had to pee. And I just peed in her plant. And she walked up in the room. And I was like 3 or 4, man. And I just peed in her plant. And she whooped me. Pee was still coming out. And I got a whooping.
I ain't gonna lie. I might have DDT'd you myself. Let's continue. Oh, hold on. Before we move on, if you haven't hit that like button, go on and hit that like button. Come on now. Let's get some likes up in this thing. If you haven't hit it yet, it's right here. It's just this little button right here on the phone. It ain't even that far. If you're on your TV, I understand they make it complicated, but you can figure it out. Please go on and hit that like button. We want to hoodify this stream so we can get it to where folks ain't echoing and stuff in the future. All right, let's get back to the video.
Where we buried our bodies. They saw the Freaknik documentary and they are right to look at us sideways when we try to come at them wrong, as if we didn't make the exact same decisions that they're making now. We simply have not earned their trust. Another big thing I think causing a divide between old head hip hop culture fans and new ones is that old heads remember how it felt, especially as Black men, to speak into a microphone and have the entire world pay attention to whatever it is you had to say. Whether it was fight the power or back that thing up. For 40 plus years, this is the reality of the now elders of hip hop. They had a voice that controlled the world at times. And now suddenly they have to take that same microphone that gave them so much power and attention and pass it to other people, to kids that they think don't even know how to act. But we didn't know how to act either. And I think there's a fear of frustration and probably even a bitterness at that experience. Now, this doesn't mean there shouldn't be standards for behavior or that old heads should insert themselves into everything with the younger generation, but we can't keep making the same excuse that the youth don't listen. It's our responsibility to figure out how to make them hear us and to swallow our own pride to make that happen. Because if you think hip hop is dead and you're from an era where hip hop was the most powerful, prominent force in pop culture, who do you think is responsible for killing it? Finally, number 7. Kendrick is the real villain and manipulator of this whole story. I'm sorry. You're going to be mad at me. This doesn't mean he didn't win the battle. He most definitely won, but at what cost? I alluded to this in the video, but if I had to do it over, I'd probably spend more time to really look at how dark and twisted and diabolical the entire strategy that Kendrick Lamar had during this beef was. How massively, but also disturbingly he played this out in comparison to Drake, the person we like envision as the master manipulator, but has completely been exposed to be mostly a dumb jock. Like, as happy as I was and still am to see Kendrick take this L, I do want people to see.
You see that? You see that right there? That Freudian flip? He said, as happy as I was to see Kendrick, and then he had to go back into the video. That was Freudian. I don't think he hate Drake like that. I don't. I think he is a Ghost fan, and since he be all super black power on his shit, that he got to come up with no. What? But let's continue. I'm gonna hear him out before I go batshit insane.
Well, Kendrick manipulated us into celebrating his painful, inhumane destruction and public embarrassment of another human being in the most diabolical way possible. First, I want to point out, again, from my experience in the Potty Mouth podcast, that it needs to be understood that Kendrick attacking Drake at the moment he did was not by accident. The Drake of the last few years is at its lowest point as an artist, just as hip hop is at its lowest point as a genre. Drake was the biggest rapper in the game, and the game was stale and uninspiring and less popular and powerful. So Drake was all of those things as well. His last few albums hadn't been great. His beefs with Kanye and Meg Thee Stallion over the last couple of years, along with other random women he kept picking fights with, had people looking at him different and kind of wanting him to go away. His awful personality and behavior made him countless enemies. And that's not to mention that we're only 5 years away from the lines, "You are hiding a child." Like, that's still sticking in people's core memories about Drake. So like, this is the equivalent of beating Jordan in the playoffs when he was with the Wizards. People wanted Drake to lose and go away, and Kendrick knew that this was the moment to make it.
All right. So basically he's saying that what he's saying to me is Fraudulent was on the down slope in his career when if we going by the numbers like everybody wants to, he was still tippy top. So how was this the downside? How he's saying the Jordan versus the Wizards? I mean, the Jordan on the Wizards version of Drizzler. And so, this was like, what?
I sound like a Jordan stan. Like you said, he probably is a low key, with a high key Drake fan for real, because this is insane. You talk about, like, he make it seem like Kendrick wouldn't have won at any point in Drake's career.
Yeah. Like, what is he? What if Fraudulent had to pull this off any other time? I really feel like we would have had the same outcome. Period. The only thing that saved Fraudulent from Pusha was Jay Prince. That's the only thing. Pusha had 8-9 songs in the chain. He at least had one in the chamber. He told him, "I want a surgical summer. Come back with me. Come back." And then boom, Drake tucked tail and ducked off.
And the only reason that Sauce Walker didn't beat him is because nobody outside of Houston really knew about Sauce Walker.
Didn't know who Sauce Walker was. And go check out Wack the Wack, one of the greatest Drake diss songs ever. Wow. Fresh. And he said everything that everybody been saying. Anyway, let's get back into this depravity.
And theorizing or dying the hill that Kendrick has hated Drake, rightfully so, for a long time. I've seen a couple of people say that, Kendrick recorded all these songs in a short period of time, whatever else, and that this was all spontaneous and he didn't have them things ready. And I just don't believe that shit. Kendrick.
Yo, and to speak on that, Kendrick's engineer, which when I re-upload this video, I'm gonna insert at this point right here, engineer was talking about how Kendrick was hitting him up whenever Fraudulent dropped something and was like, "Yo, I need you to add this or do that."
So you were part of the Kendrick and Drake battle as far as mastering. What's it like to be a part of arguably the biggest rap battle in history?
It was a little crazy. I got a call and it was like, "Stay on call. You're gonna be working."
Just say you work for us now.
And that's what it was like. Like, I get the song, like 6 minutes would elapse. And they'd be like, "How we looking?" It was very high pressure, As Dot was releasing these records, it was like I was churning in the masters. It would drop like 12 minutes later. It would be like, the master's fire. And that was what it was like. It was amazing.
Now, well, I won't say that I don't think the bones of the songs might not been maybe set up, but not like us. That wasn't no from 8 months ago. The beat was from years ago. But everything he referenced in that wasn't nothing he could really plug and play into. Then, even if he had the song set up before it end, he had to be fresh to respond with whatever was in Family Matters, which he did.
Facts.
Let's continue. Unless he heard Family Matters a very long time ago. Gee Louise, I think this dude is a BBL Drizzy lover. Let's continue.
Kendrick clearly had these songs ready beforehand. They were at least written, prepared, if not partially recorded. I believe outright, though, Not Like Us, the first two verses definitely existed well before that song dropped, and the last verse was probably written the day it came out. And I believe this not just because it's hard to believe that much music can be made so well and so well thought out so quickly, but because the music is all thematically resonant and connected to build a narrative against Drake that people were going to easily accept and run with without recognizing how they're being influenced by it. The reason I named
you want to know something? You know something that really made me not believe that? Look how long it took for the video to come out. If he had all this shit set up, don't you think he would have dropped that video like right on top of the Family Matters video? Yep. Come on now, bro. Come on now. Let's continue. Jeez Louises.
It's because I recognize that line as one of the strongest lines in the battle, that Kendrick speaks for the culture, and he does. But this is also a call to action, a signal word to tell the audience their own feelings. It's not that people didn't already feel that about Drake, because a lot of people did, but by presenting it through such a well-designed packaging, he made more people that didn't realize that maybe they were feeling that, clarify that into a strong emotion. And he does this in other songs throughout the beef, when he says, "Tell the people what they want, Drake, they're not slow," or "Your little memes is losing steam, they figured you out. The forced opinions is not convincing. Y'all need a new route." Oh, that boy is slick. Like I think the term is semiotics, the just linguistic programming that happens in these songs until you realize they're happening. You're just vibing, and it's fucking scary. Once upon a time, all of us was in change. Now he's still.
I'm not gonna disregard that. All right, Kendrick knew what he was doing. I even noticed that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna disregard him on that part of it. Let's continue.
Doubling down, calling us some slaves. Us. They not like us. And it's like white people at the concert dressed in "they not like us." It's like, who is they to y'all? That's how powerful the shit was. And of course, we already know the timing of the release of the songs is something straight out of Death Note.
And see, that sounded like a Drizzy fan right there when he brought in the race into it. What do you mean they not like us? This dude, "They Not Like Us" was a song about a dude being a pedo. So you don't have to be black to not be a pedo. What race got to do with that? So that is a whole BBL Drizzy fan comeback right there. The song wasn't just about, it wasn't even about race. Wow, bro. Wow. Let's continue. Jeez Louises.
6:16 in the morning and then Meet the Grams that same night. It's just plain evil. All I kept seeing in my head was the moment in Death Note. Like, shout out to people that watch Death Note. If you don't watch anime, you should still watch Death Note. You'll actually like it. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert? Man, fuck y'all. Y'all don't watch anime. And if you did, and most of y'all already watched this shit. Whatever. Spoiler for you. I'm just start this part over. Shit. But all I kept seeing in my head was the moment in Death Note toward the end when Light finally killed L and he ran to hold him in his arms as he took his last breath and made sure to smile in his face before he died. That's the type of evil that we're dealing with Kendrick Lamar. That man is not to be trusted from this.
No, that's what you do when you hate somebody. I'm gonna stab you and look you. I'm gonna kiss your wife in the mouth while you passing away, and your mama. And I'm gonna put it. It's gonna be a big screen. Me smashing your mama on the screen. What else would you expect, bro? It sound like he feeling sorry for the BBL Brizzler. What the feezy, man? How you gonna hate somebody and have all this sympathy? What? Let's continue.
This point on, Kendrick, I love your music, but I'm scared of you as a person now. He wrote a letter to this man's son. Adonis is like 7. He's gonna hear this one day. When he gets to like 7th grade, people are gonna joan him and be like, "Dear Adonis, Now,
yes, because Adonis needs a mentor. Now he got Kendrick.
Drake, because Drake is genuinely awful. He's a bad guy that we could all celebrate falling. We give it a pass. Drake really did have it coming. He really, really did. But there's a reason why in medieval times when like executioners would, cut off someone's head, the executioner always wore a mask because you can't look at someone like the same after you know that they're publicly killing people. And that's how I look at Kendrick now. Speaking of looking villains in the face.
If that dude killed my uncle, after he type it, I'm like, who is under that mask so I can take him to Western Sizzling? That's what? Is Western Sizzling still open? Let's continue.
My homie Foreign Man in a Foreign Land recently filmed a reality show with 6 other well-known YouTubers such as Tierzu and Dan Toomey.
Is this a commercial?
On some level, this is your typical reality road trip show with a special twist. In old reality shows, you'd have like a mole or a
dude done slipped in a commercial.
For those who don't know, I'm a freedom support, never the subscribers entire year, and I made pretty much no money from it because YouTube.
All right, don't nobody give a damn, dude. This dude right here. Also, let's go and hit that like button, you guys. Come on now, you know what I'm saying? If you don't like fraudery, or even if you do, I don't care at this point. Just go and hit that like. What you was gonna say, bro? So let me find his original video where he talked about fraudery, but he said, oh yeah, I was working out, I was doing deadlifts to Family Matters. I was like, why was you listening to this man's music, but you hate him?
12 a.m. by then. I had just finished listening to Drake's Family Matters with my wife in bed, and I was immediately not all that impressed, but I couldn't lie that it wasn't a good, catchy song. It made me want to lift weights. But
why was you lifting? It made him want to lift weights. He was listening to the drop song, lifting weights.
It motivated him.
He a fan. He is a fan.